Welcome back to the 21st edition of What the Facts, the most frequently asked questions about nutrition. Last week, a patient asked me about how I approached using oils when I'm cooking and what I thought the healthiest oil uh, is to use. And it was not a short answer, but I'm going to keep this well under 10 minutes. uh, there are a lot of oils out there, so let's first go over some of them. Now, cooking oils span the gambit of those that are extremely unhealthy and agreed upon by many doctors and scientists. And those would be the trans fats, which have actually been outlawed now as far as certain amounts being in food that are commercially produced. So when you read labels, you'll either see no trans fats on them or there's some very small amount that's allowed now because there's no controversy that trans fats increases your heart risk. Now, next to that are saturated fats. Now, most saturated fats are solid when at room temperature, and that's how you can tell the difference. And saturated fats do increase your cholesterol. Now, the largest source of saturated fat in the standard American diet is meat and dairy products. And people that eat a lot of cheese, that's probably their primary source of saturated fat because it's concentrated. So you get a lot of fat and salt when you eat cheese. But another major source are meat products, including cow's milk. So I express to all my patients interested in upgrading their health to avoid dairy products as much as they can and to really limit their meat intake for that reason. Now, I choose not to use oil at all in my food preparation. I saute in a way that's called dry saute. I use a little water so I don't scorch my onion or garlic or other vegetables. And sometimes I use some low sodium vegetable broth. So you don't have to use oil to saute or for cooking. But some people really miss that texture you can get with oil. And so there are a lot of people that ask about olive oil. And that was the particular interest of this patient. Can I continue to use my olive oil? Now, I would have answered differently just weeks ago. But after researching some articles and especially listening to a review by Dr. Joel Kahn, Kahn, he's a cardiologist that is also a nutrition expert all over the internet and YouTube. I changed my mind on this. It appears there's enough data now, multiple articles, and one ongoing study, I believe, out of Spain, that is showing that not only can modest amounts of high quality extra virgin olive oil not increase your cardiac and your cardiovascular risk for strokes and heart attack, but also perhaps improve your outlook, decrease your risk, particularly as it relates to the Mediterranean diet, or, like I said, the modest use of these oils, not for deep frying, not soaking your bread in it and only having bread and olive oil, but in ways where you also include other food, antioxidant rich food, vegetables and fruit, and modest amounts of the oil, olive oil, that is. So I do have a different stance on that. I'm not going to be telling people they should really just restrict all oils. I do feel that if you've already had a cardiac stent and you know you are at high risk, you've already had a heart attack, or maybe you have family members that have had heart attacks at a young age, under 50, and you know your cholesterol's been elevated, then you probably want to go that route that's more strict and avoid all oils. Certainly, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn and Dr. Dean Ornish have been very well-known researchers slash doctors that have shown being very strict on oil can reverse atherosclerosis, that plaque that can form around your heart vessels and other vessels. So there are circumstances where you'd probably want to be real strict. But if you're not in those categories, um, And perhaps in discussing with your doctor, even if you are given some of the latest research on olive oil, it seems it's not such a bad thing when used in moderation, when it's high quality extra virgin olive oil. So I just wanted to share that with you. Of course, there's the middle of the road oils where there is more controversy. I mentioned the red zone oils you should stay away from, or red zone fats or trans fats and saturated fats, oils that are predominantly saturated fat. But then there's the more gray zone where there's a little controversy where they're called monounsaturated and polyunsaturated vegetable oils, such as canola oil and sunflower seed oil. I've typically told people stay away from those two because they do have some saturated fat in them. There are some studies that show that actually, uh, especially on a relative basis, those type of oils versus the other types are healthier. And there's some evidence that they may even contribute to your to lowering your cardiovascular risk. But it's controversial. So my choice is to stay away from those oils, those vegetable oils. But no doubt you should stay away from coconut oil and palm oil. They are both loaded with saturated fat, and even though they're plant-based, they have saturated fat that can raise your cholesterol. So most experts still agree that coconut oil and palm oil are not healthy and they can increase your cardiac risk. And let's face it, even in the age of the pandemic, the number one risk factor, the number one reason for death, the most frequent cause of death is heart disease. Number two is cancer, which saturated fats can also increase your risk for that too, based on the gut microbiome and how it responds to these fats. So I wanted to keep this short. I hope it was clear. I'm going to put some links, about 2 or 3 links in the information section. One of them will be Dr. Kahn's um, um, presentation about this. He goes into great detail, several articles about olive oil and other oils. I think you should check it out if you have the time. And I'll probably include a couple of other references. So check the like box if you like this video, if it was informative. Certainly subscribe if you haven't. And check out my website when you get a chance. I post something on it as much as I can, 1 to 2 weeks apart, www.fearlessmd21.com. All right, have a good week. Until the next time. Bye-bye.